We're going to do something a little different in this week's video. We're going to share content from DAT's principal analyst, Dean Croke. It's all about understanding the demand for what you haul. I'm Benjamin Kowalski with Freight 360, where we provide the latest transportation sales tips and training videos to help you reach your goals faster. If you're a fan of the content, please support us by crushing that like button and sharing us with all of your colleagues. In this special episode, all of the links referenced can be found in the show notes as well as the original article. At last month's Mid-American Truck Show Pro Talk sessions, numerous new carriers and brokers asked Dean what they should focus on, right? And his answer was easy. Understanding the demand for what you haul is critical to pricing, to lanes, trailer types, freight market strategies, and profitability. In addition, new carriers and brokers must also invest in trusted and reliable business partners to guide them along the way. And yes, it is an investment, not just a line item on the profit or loss sheet. In very few instances worldwide do truckers create demand for what they actually haul. Instead, demand is derived from a transaction they have little control over, i.e., consumers buying goods and manufacturers producing them. That makes most for-hire trucking companies price takers, who traditionally take a cost-plus approach to their pricing. That makes knowing your cost table stakes in the industry, where 95.7% operate 10 or fewer trucks, and 99.7% operate fewer than 100. It's also highly competitive, which makes becoming a student of the trucking industry the starting point for success. If you didn't like reading as a student, you better get used to it now. Too many get caught up in industry politics and gossip on social media as their primary source of information. This can be misleading and send a new carrier or broker down the wrong road, ending in despair and possibly economic failure. The first thing a new carrier or broker needs to do is change the channel. Tap into sources of information that are objective and laser focused on the type of freight that you're hauling. Because if you don't wholly understand consumer and manufacturing trends in the industry that you're specializing in, what chance do you really have at succeeding? I specialize in flatbed. What should I focus on? Well, let's take flatbed carriers, for example. In the last 12 months, we've seen the housing industry collapse under the weight of supply chain disruptions, labor shortages, and more recently, record high interest rates. Knowing the directional trends of the number of new homes being built is critical to understanding flatbed demand for products like lumber, roofing, and steel. You can go one step better and study the number of new building permits being applied for by builders, since permit applications precede a housing start of 1 or 2 months. But where do you find this information? Well, the U.S. Census Bureau publishes this data along with a summary report around the middle of each month. And guess what? It's free. Suppose you're a regional flatbed carrier in Texas, for example. In that case, the weekly Baker Hughes rig count is a great way to see which way demand is headed for drilling pipe and casing products used in energy exploration. Well, what if you focus on reefers and want to know which produce growing regions are hot? Well, that's an easy one, as the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, publishes lots of free reports and data and easy to consume data dashboards. The first report to follow is the USDA truck rate report, which lists the growing regions, the type of fruits and vegetables, and most importantly, whether or not there's a shortage or oversupply of trucks. The USDA also has lots of data on the volume of produce being shipped in growing districts around North America. Another great way to see when produce is starting in a region is to follow the local festivals in the news. Each region usually holds a festival to celebrate the start of the growing season, or the start of the actual, harvesting season. Some are at the peak, like Florida Strawberry Festival in Plant City, Florida, but usually in late February each year. And don't forget to check out Produce Blue Book for additional resources on produce shippers and their credit ratings. Well, we're a drive-in carrier, So what should we be watching? Dry vans can haul such a wide variety of goods that it makes more sense to look at broader economic indicators as opposed to specific industries like reefer or flatbed. Manufacturing data would be at the top of the list with the Logistics Managers Index, LMI, and the Institute of Supply Chain Management, the ISM. Purchasing Manager Index, PMI, as excellent sources published in the first week of each month. The U.S. Census Bureau reports on durable goods, manufacturer shipments, inventories, and orders toward the end of each month, publishing a summary report and data for further analysis. If you want to skip all that though, and follow an industry expert, look no further than supply chain professor Jason Miller at the Michigan State University, Eli Broad College of Business. He's regarded as the most insightful expert on all matters related to supply and demand for the trucking industry. Connect with him on LinkedIn and make sure he's your first stop of the day. Jason also produces the Truckload Ton Mile Index, TTMI, which tracks demand for 41 freight-producing commodities and is published typically in the second week of each month. Other dry van data include the American Truckers Association, the ATA, Truck Tonnage Index, Cass Freight Index, and the Freight Transportation Service Index, published monthly by the Bureau of Transportation Statistics. But wait, there's more. If you don't want to do all of that and love listening to podcasts, join our colleagues at DAT Freight and Analytics weekly DATIQ show live on Tuesdays at 10 Eastern. You can subscribe to our channel, Freight 360, and set up alerts to never miss an episode. Do the same for the bi-weekly Freight Find podcast, where Professor Chris Kaplis and Dr. Inam Eyoub get to the bottom of what's happening in the transportation markets from the shipper's or your customer's perspective. For more tips and training, be sure to watch our weekly podcast on our channel and check out the description for links to private coaching. Because remember, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right.